Hi, and welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve, also known as Dramatic Knits.
And I'm Callie, also known as Calsters.
And today is Monday, November 2nd, 2015. This is episode 229. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back one more week. And if you're new, hopefully you enjoyed today's show and enjoy our work clothes. Because yes, it is Monday, and yes, both of us had to work, so we're a little gussied up, so to speak. But this is actually what I wear almost every day. You guys just never see me in it, so... and Kelly's all nicely dressed.
Yeah, usually I have to wear a cardigan to work, so I said, not for this podcast.
Yeah, I'm like, I just won't take the tie off. I like wearing ties, but... Needless to say, I'll go into a week in review, but I've been preoccupied since I've gotten home. So, anyway... Tangential. We didn't record yesterday because Callie had a major work event, and we wanted to make sure that we recorded together because we are going to be pulling for winners for the sweater knit along live on the show, because I just realized we forgot to do it before the podcast, but that's okay. You guys won't mind. So, yeah, that's that. And so, it's Monday after work. But we want to make sure we recorded for you guys because we got tons of drawings to do and tons of stash to show and project progress and yeah. So let's just get to it. Quick week in review for myself. It has been 2 weeks since we've recorded. We did not record last week because Leading Men Fiber Arts was vending at the Fall Fiber Expo up in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I'll talk a little bit about that later in the show in the center stage section, but it was a really great trip and met a lot of wonderful viewers. So if you were up in the area and you stopped by, thank you so much for stopping by and saying hi and introducing yourself. I love when I can say hi and meet people who watch the show and enjoy what we do and just sitting in front of a camera every week. So then I took Monday off to recuperate from that long weekend and did some housework, and we got the trailer unpacked and the shop reopened. And then it was back to life, back to normal, and I worked 3 days. But then I actually had Friday off because we had parent-teacher conferences, and we did 2 long days, which means we do conferences at night, and that way we can actually get the day that's set aside for parent-teacher conferences off. So I enjoyed Friday off with nowhere to go and nothing to do. We had been traveling for so long, and
We met up.
we did. We went to a new local yarn store, which we'll talk about a little bit later. That's just opened in Bloomington, but they were previously opened and they moved to the area. And then we hung out on Friday and watched some Netflix, and I made some meatloaf for dinner, and it was good times. Good times.
Yes.
Saturday for myself, hung out with the leading man, dyed yarn. Sorry, one of our lighting instruments decided to move on the wall. Let's just hope it doesn't come crashing down mid-recording. I don't remember much from Saturday, so it must have been, whatever. And then yesterday, Sunday, we cooked, dyed yarn. My mom came over for dinner. We tend to be doing that more often. So that was about it. Nothing too exciting, but all's good. So
Cool. My last 2 weeks have been super busy getting ready for the large event that we had yesterday, and I'm happy to report that it was almost flawless. There was just a few...
Just like you.
Thank you. There was just a few things that were a little bit out of my hands and out of my control, but that's okay, because we got some good feedback, and I'm really happy it's over, and... yeah, so in my world, I am at a much greater inner peace. I kind of am like, I'll do what I want now. So that is actually sort of true in terms of like, I'm always doing something for work in some case or another. So I'm still very happy that it's over. It went well. Kids were happy. Parents were happy. Our leaders were happy. This large event is actually our awards and recognition ceremony. So for the previous club year, we do this in November traditionally because that's when all of the things that excuse me, get graded from the state come back, and it's just a great way to show our appreciation and recognize our kids. So I was happy also because this year we have a local scholarship that is given, and traditionally they only give it to 3, possibly 4 kids a year. Because of the way that the scholarship is set up in their bank account, they are actually making super bank on their money because they started with a large sum of money. They moved it to a different bank that gave them a higher percentage rate back on it. And so they actually had to spend down in order to maintain their educational scholarship status within that particular bank. That was also a IRS, Federal Reserve type thing. So it worked in our favor that we got to award 2 full scholarships, and we also got to award 3 partial scholarships. But instead of taking the third one that we would have awarded in full and splitting it 3 ways, they decided to give each kid, the large scholarship is for $2,000 each. So the 3 kids that got scholarships, they got $1,000 each. And 2 of the 3 are going to community college, which really helps them in terms of books and just the way that that community college has their scholarship and financial aid package set up. It allows the kids to be able to use it in a variety of different ways versus if, kind of a standard 4-year college where you're kind of locked in with some of that, depending on what college you go to. So I was really happy that we got to award 3 more, especially because those 3 kiddos are kind of really close to me in terms of they've really helped us a lot. They've been stand-up kids, and I was kind of sitting on the committee and I was like, please let them award them. So I was really happy about that. Today I'm in charge of our spirit committee at work, and we had a chili and cornbread cook-off, and that was really good. We had 8 people do chili, and we had 8 people do cornbread. So it was really good. I was stuffed when I walked out of there, and I did not, by no means. We all had, shot glasses full of chili, and it was, oh, man. Ooh. We got some good cooks, and we got some not so good cooks, if you're feeling my vibe here. So, yeah, that's all that I have to say in my world, so I'm really happy. Busy weekend ahead, so just the usual now.
Alright, the knitting. Here we go. Alright, so what's taking a bow this week? I've got 2 things to take a bow. I know I'm getting things off my list. Checking it. The first thing is I finished my geology shawl by Very Busy Monkey. I used Madeline Tosh Merino Light in Fog, and I used a size 5, I want to say? Nope, 6 US 4 millimeters. And I did do an extra repeat here and there of certain things and this and that. But it's been sitting on my blocking board down in my basement for the past week and a half. So it came out to an okay size. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it. It's going to go in the gift bag until I figure it out. I'm toying with some ideas about different things and maybe doing some charity stuff. But I haven't even told Callie about it, and it would take a lot of work, and right now my brain is not there. So, but anyway, so here's this, and yeah, I didn't really pin it out, I just blocked it out. This is the shape that it comes in, and yeah, I mean, it was a rather enjoyable. If you like to do, different stitches after so long, this is great for that. It's got 7 different sections with different stitches in each, so. Alright. The next thing I finished was my A River Runs Through It socks. These are some basic stockinette stripy socks out of Lollipop Yarn's Tradition Base in the A River Runs Through It colorway. I use size 1.5 US 2.5 millimeters. And here's the first one on the sock blocker.
Ooh.
And I've got a second one.
Ah.
So 2 are done. So it's got several different shades of green with this bluish gray in between each color stripe. This is my first time using Lollipop. Thought it was very good. I have no qualms with it whatsoever. Again, I had some issues with my heel turns, but I think that's just I hate to say it, I think I may need to go down to ones, but I don't really want to, so I'm just gonna ignore that. And Joan is a lovely woman. Don't get me wrong, I've met her a couple times now. She has great, great stuff. I had no leakage or anything, but I'm kind of like, it's stripey sock yarn. Like, I'm so glad her business does so well and she sells out, but I'm just like, I got my couple balls, I don't need to stock. You know.
You let other people enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. And it'll come in my hands when I get around to it. I don't need to... Both of the times I was able to score from her, it was just kind of like, oh, all right, there's an update. But, so, that's that. I did not do an afterthought heel. I did a typical heel flapping gusset. So, socks done.
Yay.
Like a beast. Or not. So that's all that I finished this week, or these past 2 weeks.
I have nothing.
Okay. Do you want to go into works in progress?
Sure. So I'm still working on my sweater. I did not meet the deadline for our cow, but it does not mean that I'm going to stop working on it. I am working on the Hitafude cardigan, and I'm using size 3 US, and I am using the Raspberry Parfait. I got it right. Colorway by Leading Men Fiber Arts in the Soliloquy base. I am just 3 short repeats away from binding off for the sleeves. So I'm really excited to be at that point. Didn't know when it was going to happen, but I'm really excited for that. So that's all I'm currently working on right now. In my size, the repeats are 16 for the sleeves, so I'm at 13 right now. So it will be there.
Alright, so what's on my needles? The first thing is my sweater for the sweater knit along, which I didn't finish in time either. But I'm sure a lot of you didn't finish in time either. We're not judging.
No.
Keep working on them. You know what? Just because I closed the finished object thread, I did not lock the chatter thread. So as you finish, please post your pictures in the chatter thread and keep that chatter thread going. I was so heartwarmed when I kept seeing chatter happening between our viewers. You know, we pretty much, unless there was a direct question to us, we pretty much stayed out of the chatter thread and we let you guys keep that chatter thread going, and it kept going. It kept going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny.
It was lovely.
Sorry, I got distracted by the musical reference, if you know where Loverly is from. Anyway, I'm knitting Polyphony. No, I'm not. I am, but this isn't Polyphony. This is Portage. Dang P patterns. This is Portage by Melissa Shishwari. I'm using Elizabeth LeBold's Silky Wool in color number 65, also known as Spruce, on a size 7, 6, and 5. I've worked on a 7. I'm on a 5 now. So I finished this dang back crazy stitched body. It's not even crazy. It just takes forever. And I'm on the ribbing. So you can see from the Dicky-Doo all the way down is what I've done in 2 weeks, which is pretty good progress, seeing as I've been working on this for like 3 months. So I've got probably 2.5 inches of ribbing. It actually calls for 5 at the bottom, so I've got quite a bit more to go. It's got a very elongated section of ribbing. And then from there I bind off the main body. So, and then I pick up and do around the collar, and then you actually do pockets off the collar, like at the bottom and garter, and I think fold them back and seam them or something to that effect. So I'll get there when I get there. I'm just happy that this Stitch of Doom is done.
Stitch of Doom.
Stitch of Doom. So that's that. The second thing I'm working on is Polyphony by Sarah Berghardt Abram, and I'm using Leading Men Fiber Arts in our show stealer base. Oh, it's been a long day. In Copper Cloud, Eternal Kiss, and Nude Scene on a size 5 US. I've got stuff everywhere, guys. 5 US, which is 3.75 millimeter. And I got a decent amount of progress on this, even though because it's basic garter. I worked on this on the road to and from Michigan, and So I showed last week I'd finished the lace body and I picked up the 3 borders. And from the dicky-do down, it's not a lot, but when you consider I'm doing all 3 sides... Sorry, I'm not going to get the needle in your face. But it's a lot of stitches on the needles. So, and then, this color combo. There's the nude scene. I'm excited about adding that in. But then I've got a whole nother skein of fingering weight to knit on the top portion. So,
Yay!
It's garter. It's soothing.
Who's the intended recipient of that?
It's a shop sample.
Oh, okay.
So.
I was just testing you.
It's just for the shop. Once I get it done, then I can actually carry the pattern in the booth. So, the next thing I'm working on is Mix It Up by Jana Huck. I'm using local alpaca that's been mill spun to a fingering weight. I dyed one skein in our blue steel colorway, and the other one is a natural white. I'm doing that on a size 3 US, 3.25 millimeter. And I actually picked up a 60-inch cord, even though, if you remember at Vogue, I picked up a 40-inch Haya, and that was still too short. And now I'm on a 60-inch cord for my Knitter's Pride carbons. And now I can stretch the whole thing out. But again, I'm like only halfway through. And I'm using this wonderful... it's not a shop. Somebody made these out of old pens at SSK, and it's got a little rubber stopper for like those closet organizers, and there's a slit in the rubber stopper, and then I can just slide it on my needles, and it will not drop my stitches. So people, I think somebody calls it a poke me not, one company. There's a couple companies doing these now, but you could do it out of recycled pens and whatnot. So let me, in fact, take it off so I can spread out the needles. I think I can. Okay, yeah. So I actually got a decent amount of work on here when you consider how long these rows are, and they're just going to get longer. So from here all the way up, and here's how long it already is, okay? All this long, and I'm about only halfway done. It's going to be very long. I think it's over 100 inches, they said, when it's done.
Did you read that correctly when you started this pattern? Oh no, it's commissioned it. Never mind, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, folks.
Well, and I also had chosen to, they're like, if you have enough yarn, you could do an additional repeat. And I was like, okay, I'll do an additional repeat because I got more than enough yarn. I don't know if that's going to happen. Plus, they contacted me because they're having their open house at the end of this month, and they're like, do you have anything ready? And I'm like, no. Sorry.
Back when I can go try on my Hugh Half jacket. Oh wait, that already sold, and I'm a little disappointed in that.
I just got their postcard in the mail today. You should probably have one at home because you signed in last year.
I did, but
that's how they got mine.
Huh.
They send out a nice little card.
Cool.
So anyway, if you're in the Bloomington area, ask us, and we'll tell you there's an open house at an alpaca farm. You can see handcrafted goods of all different types and visit the alpaca.
It's actually within stalking distance for me. But don't stalk me, please.
So, the next thing are my bend over backwards socks. So, I'm knitting these out of a sock blank. And again, let me show you the sock blank. I called it bend over backwards. Again, I'm naming all my sock blanks after idioms. And they're all one of a kind. So here's the sock blank. And in fact, I finished the first one. And I blocked it. I'm going to leave one unblocked along with the excess sock blank so people can see the difference. So you can see here, let's see how much of it. The stitches block right out. No more crinkly. And you get this fun pixelated design with the yarn. So I started the second one. And I've not gotten very far because I work on these at work, and today I had to grade my whole entire planning period, and I'm still behind. It was one of those days, like, I just keep getting farther behind, so I need to put the knitting down. I usually try to knit for like 15 minutes of my planning period. No, I had to grade the whole time. So, I got a little bit of ribbing and a little bit of cuff. And it's going. So that's that. And then that should be it, but oh no, I was inspired on Instagram by Erin, who used to be Mommy Needs Yarn and had the Mommy Needs Yarn podcast. And I saw that she decided to start a Scrappy Happy Granny Smith crocheted blanket. And now, if you haven't been a long-time viewer, I have actually started out in the Farber Arts world when I was 8 years old. I learned how to crochet from a very elderly lady, like early 90s, when I was 8, one summer. And very, very nice, taught me all the basic stuff. And then I kind of did a bit of crochet here or there all the way through high school. And in fact, even just a tad bit into college even too, just occasionally. And I saw Erin's picture on Instagram and I said, I kind of got an itch to crochet and I want to remember how to granny square. So I watched a 20-minute YouTube video on how to do the never-ending granny square. And the only difference was they showed how to switch colors every round. And that was just too much for me. So I was like, I'm going to use scraps up of my worsted weight, DK worsted weight and Erin's scraps. And I'm going to magic knot when I come to the end of a skein and just keep going. Yeah, I kind of went with that yesterday. In fact, I think I did more working on this than anything else. And so I've already worked 3 scraps out of my whole brown paper bag of scraps. I may have enough to start a second blanket, the way this is going.
Yeah.
And so Callie looked at me a bit weird. Here's where I'm at already. So I've got 2 of our colorways, actually. Poison Ivy, which Callie came up with, and I did a barley hat out of.
It's next. Sorry.
Oh, Mystique, which is discontinued, and then I've got some Barocco Vintage in gray that I used for a big blanket. So I'm just going. I'm almost done with the gray, and I'll tie in another color, and I'm just randomly tying in colors. But wait, there's more. So I was like, well, why just use the thicker weights? What I'm going to do with fingering weight? I have so much fingering weight, and I gave all of my excess fingering weight scraps away this summer, but I started collecting larger balls of it that I was like, but I can use that. I feel bad throwing that much away. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to clear all that out. I'm going to put it in its own bag, which I have downstairs, and then I bought a smaller crochet hook because I didn't have the right size. And I just guesstimated at Walmart, and I bought a smaller crochet hook, and I started a Shazam fingering sport weight scrap yarn happy scrappy blanket of Grandma. No. Granny Stitch.
Granny Square.
Granny Square.
Grammy.
Granny Square blanket. This one hasn't gotten too much love. But in fact, I think the beginning I was having issues because I was having issues with the larger one time I picked it up, because you hold the yarn in your other hand when you're crocheting than when you knit, at least when you're English, a thrower like we are. And so I was putting it in my right hand, and I was like, I had to keep wrapping it around the hook and dropping and I was like, what is going on? Trust me, I picked it back up yesterday and I was like, because you can go so much faster with crocheting than you can with knitting.
Yes.
And it eats up a lot more yarn. So, yeah, I started off by switching the colors on this one every round, and I was like, no, that's too much work. So, right now I'm doing self-striping. This blue goes into green, goes into dark green, so. I drank the Kool-Aid, and I'm a whole sorts of crazy.
Speaking of crochet, I asked my friend Hannah. I went to grade school, junior high, and high school with her, but she knit her sister Baymax from Big Hero 6. It's a Disney movie, for a college going away present, because she transferred schools. And I was like, oh man, Hannah's got mad skills. So I messaged her on Facebook and I was like, hey, I've got this pattern for this really giant crocheted dinosaur. Could you do this and I'll knit you something in return? And she was like, oh yeah, totally. And I was like, any way that you could have it done in like December or January? She's like, probably. She said, I'll be home for the holidays. And I said, okay. But now I'm like, she hasn't told me what she wants, because I told her, I was like, no sweaters and no socks. So, who knows? Anywho.
So anyway, we'll see how long I ride that bandwagon. So let's move into in rehearsal. I got nothing. I'm going to work on these rather 3 large projects still on the needles until I get down to 1. I have a again, I go between monogamy and polygamy on my needles all the time, but I have this hankering for some monogamy, and I want to get to one thing on the needles and start seeing some progress and getting things on and off, especially since I'm so restricted on crafting time anymore. So.
Well, because my large project is done, I am actually casting on for our toy knit-along cowl. Excuse me, and I'll talk about that in just a second. And I'm also, going to be doing a boomerang pattern. So, more about our toy knit-along cowl. It did start November 1st. And it runs all the way through December 31st. You can use any weight yarn. You can use any brand, whatever. It does have to be classified in Ravelry as a toy or stuffy or plushie, whatever that should be. If you use any base of Leading Men Fiber Arts, you can enter your finished object twice in the finished object thread, and I will get those set up after I get home. I didn't have a chance to do it yesterday or this morning, but that will be coming, so watch out for that. You can use any designer. There's a ton of great toy knitwear designers, and there's also great crochet designers as well. And we will accept knit or crochet items, because I think in toy spirit, yes. So whatever your jam is, we hope you join us. I already have my my yarn picked out, which I just realized I forgot at home as well.
We're super prepared today.
Super prepared. But it is the Big Snowy Owl that's put out by Pearl Soho, and
thing's a beast. That's a beast.
It is. And our local yarn store, the one that we didn't go together to, our other local yarn store only had 2 colors, so I was a little limited on color selection. But it is Lana Grande, I think is what it's called. But I bought it in a plum color, 4 skeins for the main body, and I'm doing the eyes in white. So I've already had my friend ask me if she could make her a white one and make it look like Hedwig from Harry Potter, because she wants to do a nursery and Harry Potter theme, but she's not pregnant yet, so it's good to know that ahead of time. That's what she wants. So. Anywho, that's what I plan on doing. I hope you will join us. Again, it started November 1st, and we'll close out on December 31st. So.
Awesome.
Yes.
So, behind the scenes, what am I spinning? I finished some spinning. I finished some commission spinning, which was Spin Monkeys Falkland in the Rhinestone Cowgirl colorway. And I got 190 yards of an Aran weight 2-ply. I'm saying Aran weight because of the weight. But, you know, I don't know when you actually... Yeah. Anyway, I kind of go by the yardage, and then I base my weight of yarn off of that. I don't actually gauge wraps per inch because I can't do it well. Like, if you put too much tension on, or how packed do you put the thing, you know what I mean? Like, I can make it work for fingering if it's Aran, according to the numbers. Plus, everybody's numbers is different where I look for wraps per inch. So I just kind of look at amount of yarn, yardage, you know, per 4 ounces or whatever. So anyway, this is Rhinestone Cowgirl. It is not that blown out. That's a little bit better. So it's got this like reddish pink and then this fuchsia pink that runs through it. And so I didn't fractal spin it. I just split the braid in the middle and spun each and then applied it together. So it washed up nice. It's Falkland, so it's not the softest of things. But I'll be happy to send this out tomorrow. And then I already started, and I'm almost done spinning the singles of something from my stash, which I actually picked up at, I think, Knitting Pipeline this year is where I picked it up. It's a Riot of Color, and it's 85% Superwash BFL, 15% nylon in the Grello colorway, so it's a gray-yellow. And here's actually all I have left. This is the last third of the second 2 ounces. In fact, I think it was only 3.5 ounces. I think she does it in 3.5 ounce put-ups. Anyway, I finished the first half on the bobbin, and I just split the braid, or split it in half, not down the center, just split it in half, and spun the first half, and then I split the second half in threes down their centers, or down the braid. And so I'm almost done with the singles. Hopefully I'll have that plied and be able to show that to you next week, and then I'll have another commission spinning on the wheel. So that's what I'm working on. Alright, in the spotlight, we've got a lot to talk about. So I'm going to readjust, not sitting on my feet. Love when I can, get blood flowing back through my lower, no, that sounds bad. I was going to say lower appendages, through my feet and my ankles. Alright, my ankles. Oh, I'm a little giddy tonight. Alright, so, what are we watching and reading? Well, watching American Horror Story Hotel. I'm not as impressed with this season in terms of the storyline. I feel like there's a lot of too many characters. I feel like there are unbelievable motivations and objectives. But again, the costumes are great. The set is amazing. The acting is pretty good. So, also, we're watching The Great British Baking Show. We did not catch yesterday's due to the fact that our DVR is broken, and they were supposed to come fix it yesterday, and they called to tell us they couldn't make it, so we have to wait a whole nother week. So, hopefully we'll be able to watch that on our Roku tonight. I also started watching Hemlock Grove Season 3, which is a Netflix series original, and Season 3 just came out, last week or the week before, so I'm watching that. I'm about 3 episodes in. It's kind of a fun ride. Don't look too much into it. It is what it is. Vampires, werewolves, or they call them umpir, or vampires are called upir. Gotta make it fancy. And then, because we were waiting for, I don't have it on here. Because we were waiting for The Walking Dead to come on last night, which watched The Walking Dead. Did not enjoy last night's episode as much, but it was because it's been so action-packed this season, and then it was a character study, like character backstory yesterday, and I was like, and it was an hour and a half. I was like, anyway, so, watched The Walking Dead, but as we were waiting for that to come on, because we had to watch it live, we didn't have the DVR, we actually watched an episode of, what's that show? Oh, crap. We were watching it before. The one with the politicians. House of Cards, with Kevin Spacey and other people you'd know. Anyway, so we watched an episode of that. I really wish that my leading man had more motivation to watch it. It's not that he wants to give up on it, because we watched an episode. But I don't know. I don't get into politics and all that, but it's just the inner workings and it's very well written and well acted. It's a good show. And that's another Netflix original as well. So if you don't have Netflix, sorry. They are coming out with some good originals. Oh, and I'll let you talk about what we watched together.
We watched, now brace yourself, because we only watch it when we are hanging out together.
Not just recording, but actually have time to hang out and chill.
Legit hanging out. Okay, so...
Which has been, I don't know, 4 months?
Yeah. So, 4 months ago, we were 2 episodes in. Folks, we watched 3 whole new episodes of of Grace and Frankie. It's also a Netflix original. I don't have Netflix, so there is no way that I'm, trying to secretly watch this behind Steve's back, so... it was really good. I really like it because at one point they have a funeral that they attend, and then the next episode still started off right where Frankie was having issues with Grace's comment that she made, and I really liked how it just went straight to where it ended from the last show. I don't get that with a whole lot of shows, so I was really happy that.
Well, and there's a mixture of that, because I think one of the other episodes, it was a month later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
true.
Where it's prevalent, but they don't spend a whole lot of time trying to catch you up either. They just transition well between shows.
It's a great show. I think Steve and I both had our laugh out loud moments.
And we caught my leading man watching it. He actually sat down and he was like, I need to watch more of that. So he's actually getting into it.
so that's exciting. I haven't been watching a whole lot of television lately, but I power read last week. I read power read may be an overstatement, but I became a new follower of our bookmobile in Bloomington. And so I went on it, which is fantastic. Like, go our public library, because it is way better than actually visiting the real library in some cases. And I'm not going to go into that because I also respect the people that work there, but there's just some things that get underneath my skin. So I checked 4 books out, and I finished one, and it's called We Are All Made Up of Molecules. And it was a fantastic read. I loved the format. I loved the way the message was portrayed. I can't say enough good things about it. And for those of you that do read young adult, Christopher Paul Curtis is one of my favorite YA authors. He wrote Bud Not Buddy, Elijah of Buxton, The Watsons Go to Birmingham, and the list goes on. And he recommended this book, so that's why I picked it out in part of his recommendation. The second book that I am almost done with and will probably stay up and read till I finish it tonight is called I Will Always Write Back. It's a pen pal exchange book, and it's a real story, and it happened during the late 90s and goes into the early millennium. And it's an exchange of letters between a girl named Caitlin who lives in Hatfield, Pennsylvania, and a boy named Martin who lives in Mature, Zimbabwe. And so there was a lot of political upset during that time, so hearing Martin's point of view is very interesting, because I think, like, during the 90s and the early 2000s, I really kind of probably more identified with Caitlin, even though I was much younger than her during this book. But I feel culturally stupid when I am reading this book. Like, I just was so unaware of things that were going on, and still quite frankly am. So I really like this book because it's written for young adult, and I think it's a great book to showcase kids that there is a much larger world outside of the one that they're, confined to. So I highly recommend it. I will probably share a picture of it on Instagram once I'm finished. I think I might have already done so, but if you follow me on Instagram, I'm pretty good about sharing pictures of the books that I'm reading. So those are 2 books that I would highly recommend, even though I'm not finished with I Will Always Write Back. So
cool. I've finished quite a few books, and I'm currently reading quite a few too. Gotta love, having Bluetooth in my truck and being able to listen. Though I'm going to need to set up the free library audiobook lending library through my school's library book
it's so
tomorrow,
awesome.
because my school's librarian's like, we have this, and because I said I actually had to purchase more Audible credits, which is fine, but she's like, we have this, and I was like, I need to do that, because it can get real expensive with Audible if you're starting to churn through books, which I am. So anyway, I finished The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. It's about a young boy whose family is killed, and he actually escapes his crib the night and crawls down the street to a local cemetery, and then the ghosts and entities in the graveyard actually agree to raise him. And so it's, suspension of disbelief and things of that nature. I thought it was pretty good. Again, I can't give it my highest marks. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I felt like a lot of items were thrown in right at the end just to kind of make things work or to complete the story. There wasn't a whole lot of build up to that final moment. I finished listening to Forever Odd by Dean Koontz. Again, that's about a young gentleman who can see the dead. The dead cannot talk to him, but they can try to communicate with him, and he tries to get them to step over to the other side. He can also see these entities that hover around when bad things are going to happen, and mass death and chaos, which were not part of actually this book. They were part of the first book in this series. I thought this one was alright. It was not as good as the first one in my opinion. I think there's now 6 in the series of the Odd Thomas series. I may get around to the third one. I'll let you know when I get around to the third one if I thought it was any better. But basically, this one was about a woman who kidnapped his best friend, Odd Thomas's best friend, who has brittle bone disease, and ends up killing the best friend's dad, to kidnap him in order to lure Odd to come to a deserted place so that she could get in contact with him and try to then have him show her spirits and ghosts and stuff. And then what happened after that. So I thought it was all right. I finished a lot of things. I finished The Good, the Bad, and the Undead by Kim Harrison. Thought it was just all right. Witch hunter, detective type stuff. There's a whole series. Thought that was okay. And lastly, I finished Roses Are Red by James Patterson. Thought it was pretty good, but the James Patterson I just finished a couple weeks ago came out after Roses Are Red, so like the big, huge twist right at the end I actually knew because I don't really listen to them in order. I just have a bunch of them on my shelf and I was picking them up and, but I actually knew that one of the characters involved in this book that is not a bad guy is a bad guy, if that makes sense. So,
spoiler alert.
I was a little like, oh, last line, last paragraph, big twist. And I was like, not really. But that was my own fault, not the book's. So what am I currently reading? I'm currently reading The Fifth Wave, and I cannot tell you, I think the guy's first name is Rick. I meant to write it down. I got it from our school's library. I'm reading it during our sustained silent reading time in class. Basically, it's about an alien invasion and how they're going into the fifth wave of destruction of the human race. And so it's interesting. And, it's going. But basically the whole thing is kind of the aliens are people. They've been infested or whatever, and how do you know based on looks when they look exactly like you, kind of is the point that I'm getting to. So I was following a protagonist up until the first section was done, and now I'm with a different character as the main character, first person character, so we'll see where that goes. I'm also listening to The Martian by Andy Weir. Andy and I started listening to that on the way to and from Michigan, and we didn't get finished with it, so I'm working on finishing it to and from work. I have maybe like an hour and a half left. It's pretty good. It's a lot of tech talk, but I would really suggest, I've heard people, like the two Knitlit chicks, say they couldn't see themselves enjoying actually reading it, but listening to it, it's much easier, I think, to kind of let your brain go and then envision all this stuff that's happening rather than trying to read the words and I don't know. It's a lot of technical talk, but the main character, Mark, is very comedic, and that's one of the things that they talk about is like he deals with stress with comedy. So all the stuff that's happening to him while he's stuck on Mars, there's kind of this comedy that he brings in, and it's not weird or stands out. So I highly recommend that. I wanted to read it before the movie came out, or before I watched the movie. Lastly, I think I'm listening to The Night Spider by John Lutz, another serial killer cop drama, and so far it's about a killer who wraps women up in the sheets and stabs them 36 to 37 times, and actually it's always a woman in a high up apartment in New York, and he actually drops down from the roof of the apartment and enters through the window like a spider, and the women never know. They wake up after they've been wrapped up, and he puts tape over their mouth. So it's intriguing. If
you're stabbed 36 to 37 times, though...
That's part of it, is that he actually knows where to stab so that you don't automatically die. You don't actually die of the stab wounds. You die of either bleeding out or like one of the victims had a heart attack from the experience. So I like to read those weird things, Leslie likes the smut novels. I like the serial killer cop dramas.
I prefer nonfiction, so...
Anyway, so that's all that I'm reading in the past 2 weeks. All right. We got some stash enhancement, y'all. So, I'm going to go through this relatively quick because we still have drawings to do. And I said I was going to be 45 minutes, and we're at 45 minutes right now. Oh, and I still have all the shop stuff. This is going to be a long episode. So, it is what it is. Andy's going to have to understand. Okay, where to start? Let me start off with, I've got my Three Waters Farm Top of the Month Club for November. And this month is...
Beautiful.
Finn wool. I don't think I've gotten Finn from them before. And the colorway is Bright Open Sky. And of course, it's always beautiful. So it's blues and reds and a little bit of peach and
Peach.
grays. It's an interesting color combo. I'd love to see how it spins up, but it's beautiful. And it's got this squishiness to it. It's got a good sproing factor. And I always love it comes in these cute little boxes. And they just put it in there and, you know, cannot beat the deal. And I'm not in the, you know, Luxe or whatever they call it club. I'm just in the basic wool club, not blended. $21.95 a month includes shipping. That's not bad for wonderful, wonderful dye job and color theory and all that stuff. All right. Then, before I talk about Ann Arbor, we checked out a local... I don't know, did I get rid of her card? I think I did. We checked out a new local yarn store. She actually moved from Morris, Illinois, to Bloomington to kind of broaden her market. And that is the
Le Mountain Rouge Knittery.
I didn't take French, so I'd say Le Mouton Rouge. That's how I'd say it. I don't know. Knittery. The owner, Kelly, was the one who actually organized the Stash Market that we attended. Well, Stash Market was probably not our best show. We still got to meet her and talk with her, and she's lovely. And she's got a lovely, lovely store. Very bright, friendly. She's still getting finishing touches put in, but she's got some really amazing yarns in stock and things that we are very interested in.
Yes.
So I picked up, besides the needle that I'm using on the Mix It Up shawl, I picked up 2 skeins of Dream & Color Jilly with cashmere. If you didn't know, this is a new base. So Dream & Color Jilly came out last summer when we were at SSK. I remember it was around that time because I picked some up at House of Yarn in Nashville. I've got a skein of Dream & Color Jilly, which is a single ply fingering weight, I believe. Yeah. So this is Jilly with cashmere. So this is 70% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, 10% nylon, 440 yards, and I couldn't resist. All the names had musical names. So I was just going to get one, and then I just threw 2 in my hand, and one's totally not my colors, but that's part of the reason why I picked them up. So this one is called A Little Night Music, and it's this beautiful, vibrant, rich, electric blues and purples. And yes, I may have already paired them with patterns. What, you ask, of it did I pair with this? I don't remember. But I went through my queue and found something. And then this one is totally outside my color range, but I thought the colors blended beautifully. And this one's called Hello Dolly. It's beautiful magentas and purples into a yellow. Beautiful. So I got these 2 from one of our new local yarn stores, La Mouton Rouge Knittery. So, did you get anything, Callie?
I did. I was really kind of going back and forth because she has Sweet Georgia yarns as well, and I've never used them.
Same here.
So I was kind of like, oh, do I go with it? But then I was like, no.
There's always next trip.
I know. There's next time. And actually, they have a bag that I was looking at, and I was like, no, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get it. I'm going to resist. But in trying to do some fact checking to see if there was other colors that I could ask her to order, that bag that I was looking at from Lantern Moon is actually discontinued and has been for like a year or so. But it's in a color that I adore, so I get paid on Wednesday, so homegirl gonna go after work, 'cause she gets off work early, and be like, hello, new purchase. Anyways, so I got some Madeline Tosh Sport in the Iris colorway, and I absolutely love this color. Purple for a very long time was my favorite color. I've kind of progressed to navy, so I love this, and I definitely will pair it with a pattern. I also got a set of Knitter Pride's Carbons US1 double point needles, and I'm excited to try these because this is about the sock, about the size needle that I use for my socks. So
socks? What?
I know. I know. Homegirl's gonna do some, time to make the donut socks here pretty soon.
Sounds good.
That's a Fiber Nymph base, which
or colorway.
Yeah, that Steve got me for Christmas a couple of years ago.
2 or 3 years ago.
Sometime.
All right. So my other stash enhancement. I did some shopping at Fall Fiber Expo. So the first shopping I actually had Andy do for me. The wonderful people at did I draw the bag out? At Twisted Fiber Arts. Yeah, Twisted Fiber Art. I got a lovely skein from them at YarnCon last April, and we got to know each other. The owner is absolutely a wonderful, kind soul, and when we were at the same shows, like at Vogue and everything, we always make sure to talk to each other. And she was actually at Fall Fiber Expo. What you don't know is actually that her whole entire store and studio burnt down. And it's very, very sad. But luckily they did have business insurance, which covered a good deal. But they lost a lot, and she was dying out of her kitchen. Everything she had at Vogue was out of her kitchen, which for her dye process and technique that she has, which is utterly gorgeous and amazing, takes a lot of room to do that. And so then they were moving into a temporary studio, and I think they may be in their new studio now. I'm not sure. Anyway, what they had with them at Fall Fiber Expo was all the yarn they were able to salvage from the fire. So they had a fire sale, which everything that they had was 30% off. Nothing smelled of smoke, nothing was damaged. It's not like they're selling you crispy yarn. That's not what it was. It was things that were in the building already dyed up that they were able to salvage from the fire. So I sent Andy over and I said, we need to support them. And I said, I want you to go pick some yarns, make sure they pair some patterns with it so I know what goes with what. And he was happy to oblige because he utterly loves their stuff. It's the only indie dyed yarn that actually takes his breath away. That's because they do amazing gradients. Now, they are a luxury yarn. You are paying for a lot of hard work into your yarn. So you're paying sometimes upward to 3 times as much as you might pay for other hand-dyed yarn. But it is a lot of work and intensity and artistry that goes into this.
It's maddening to think of how much work and effort in just a kitchen she went through. I mean, utterly maddening to think about.
So I got 2 skeins, and the first is her Tasty Large Evolution. So this is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon, fingering weight 500 yards in the colorway Nymph. And so what Andy picked out to go with this was the Biscuit Cowl by Blue Peninsula. The designer is Bonnie Sonat. Looks like that. And there's directions in the pattern on how to use up all the yarn for this large evolution. So, there. And then the second skein we picked up was, I forgot I have more stash enhancement in there. Is her Yummy Large Evolution, and it is a light worsted DK weight, I'd say. I think Ravelry has it classified as. And this again is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. You got some cashmere. And this is 340 yards in the colorway Dusk.
I love this. I love
And
that.
what Andy actually picked up for me to knit, I actually had in my library, but that's alright. He didn't know. It's the Gillis by Stephen West. And again, there's directions to modify it. I think they took out a whole section because it calls for more yarn than what I have, but I could still do a thinner one of these. So that's awesome. And it's good cardstock. She has lovely patterns and all that stuff. So, ooh, I got too much stuff. So again, let me show you the beautifulness, the transitions. I was talking to several people at Ann Arbor about how much we love their stuff, and they're just like, you're knitting and you can't even realize you're in a new color. That's how subtle the shifts are in the colors. So the other thing that Andy picked up from me came from Shepherd's Custom Woodworking. Here's the front of their card. And he actually picked this out himself without my asking or even knowing about it, because I told you that at the Bishop Hill Spin End we picked up a blending board. Well, I'm not sure I want to do Rolags. I don't know if that's going to be my cup of tea, but actually having blended fiber requires that you have something called a diz, which is where you take the fiber through a small orifice and kind of pull the yarn through. So he actually saw that they had different types of dizzes. So you can see here I have different size orifices I can pull the yarn through. Now they did not have a diz threader, which I've actually seen on Etsy, but he picked up this to kind of help pick the yarn or the fiber off the blending board and clear it and things like this. It's actually a hairpin that they had as well. So, and I could, kind of pull some fiber through, but I may still need to get a threader. It's just like a needle threader. So that's something new and something I get to play with. I actually was tempted to have Callie come over one day and play with it, and she maybe make her work for us. Because as much as it's fun, I don't know if the blending board's going to be my cup of tea per se.
But I was playing with it.
And she seemed interested, so they're like, we can give you some fiber to play with eventually, and then give you all winter to work on custom blending spinning fiber. And
don't worry, I got plenty of time, folks.
So that's some of it. And then I had the lovely owner of Fiber Story come over, and I've been at a couple of events with her. I know she was kind of one of the hot places at Stitches Midwest. Her booth was utterly amazing. Just her setup and her lighting. Lighting makes so much happen, and we're not there with lighting because most shows you have to pay more for electricity. You guys probably don't know that, but just traveling it and everything else. So anyway, she came over and bought a project bag from us and actually sent over a yarn store owner to talk to us about wholesaling. And so I went over to her booth, and I was looking, just being in awe, and I was looking through her spinning fiber, and Andy almost laughed because he's like, it looks almost natural. Anyway, so I picked up a braid of Targhee, which I thought I had never spun, but I think I actually have spun Targhee before. And this is 4 ounces of Targhee in the color Shimmer. Oh. Now, it's so subtle. That's what drew my attention. And again, it's kind of washing it. There we go.
So beautiful.
Now, it's going to even fade out even more when I spin it, but it's going to be so subtle and just, I don't know. I mean, even the lighting in here is yellow for us. Mm-hmm. It's good lighting on the camera, but it's just got these kind of like blushed and I don't know. It's amazing. So I picked that up, and then I was walking by, and she had some kits. And I'm at the point, if you can sell me on a kit, I'll buy it. Because if I'm interested, if I'm like, oh, that's a nice project, I don't knit to wear it. I knit to knit whatever. And I think, a lot of us are getting to that, we just knit to knit. And if we get a final project, that's great. And she had this wonderful kit, and I thought the pricing was just amazing for what you got. So I said, sure, I'll buy you kit. And first, let me show you the pattern. The pattern is for Odali, which is by Toby Roxanne. And it's a wonderful 2-color shawl with some randomly placed beads. If you can see those speckles in the main body, there are random, or I don't know if they're random, but there are beads. Not only did you get the yarn, you got the beads with the pattern, or with the kit. So I was like, okay. And this was actually what she had her shop sample done. So you got 2 skeins of her Fave sock, which is 100% superwash merino, 400 yards. And I've got the color Smudge and Mythic. So Mythic is going to be the main body, and Smudge is going to be on the outside. And then it also came with these, with enough beads to do the project.
Nice.
So they have these nice iridescent beads that'll go inside the body of the shawl. And I didn't think that was bad. For 2 skeins of sock yarn, beads, and pattern, it was $55. That's it.
Wow.
For a shawl kit with beads and the pattern, printed out, not bad.
Mm-mm.
So I definitely suggest if you're going to be at a show with her, definitely check out her booth. It's utterly beautiful.
Nice.
So yeah, that's all my stash enhancement. That's all that I've gotten. So that's awesome. Okay, now we need to move on. Sorry, taking too much time. Let's move into a round of applause. I do want to say a generous thank you to one of our viewers. Her name is Nikki. That's all the information I'm going to give, but she gave a donation to the podcast, and I want to say thank you. It's been a long time since we've received a donation, and we don't ask for them. We do not need them by any means, but if you do feel like helping to support the podcast, it is greatly appreciated. There is a donate button in the right-hand margin of our website, which can be found at dramaticknits.com. Every little bit helps. We do actually pay for all the shipping ourselves. We pay to have a website. We pay to have video storage on the website, as well as, business cards to hand out and buttons at shows. We do promoting and things of that nature. So I know that all podcasts do have to put out some sort of money and time. But if you, are so inclined, we would love to see support for the podcast. So thank you, Nikki, so very, very much.
We greatly appreciate your support.
All right, I needed to do a redrawing because the person who won some yarn previous had not contacted me in over a month, so I redrew. So about a month ago, I drew for some Shalimar Breathless Cush, which is 75% superwash merino, 15% cashmere, 10% silk, 145 yards of the bulky weight, and this is in black truffle, and I was throwing in a little bit of extra of the Neptune colorway that I used to knit a cowl. So I redrew for a winner, and the new winner was number 108 from that thread, which is Hot Pink Socks, and that's Stephanie from Orange City, Iowa. And she said the prompt was, what colorway do you like of Shalimar yarn? She loved Fairy Dust. So congratulations to Stephanie. You are now the new winner, so please get in contact with me through Ravelry with your first and last name and mailing address, and I'll get this out to you as soon as I can.
She's won from us a few times before.
I think so she's got a lucky streak going on.
Congratulations.
Alright, so we've got our sweater knit along going on, and we need to pull for some winners.
So first of all, thank you for everyone that has participated in it and has finished a sweater or sweaters. And if you're still rocking out your sweater, then go on with your bad self. I got a little stumbly there. Sorry. But yes, like Steve said earlier, definitely keep posting in the chatter threads. We look forward to seeing your finished objects. So yes. We had quite a few entries.
And we did, in fact, just hit over 100 entries. Mm-hmm. So that means we have 3 prizes that we are going to draw for. Okay, so let me enter this really quickly. Callie has a sweater's worth of yarn.
Yes.
I have a sweater's worth of yarn that I'm going to dye up to the colorway of your choice. And then the third one, we are going to do a $20 gift certificate to Leading Men Fiber Arts. So once you get in contact with me, if you win that one, I'll give you a code that will be good for $20 off any purchase through Leading Men Fiber Arts.
Hey.
So let me bring that up. The sweater knit along. We had 110 entries, so we're going to do 2 through 110. The first is going to be for my sweater's lot of yarn. I have a skein undyed here. I have 7 skeins. This was our marquee base that we brought out for possibly a club, and we dyed up some of it, but we decided not to keep it in the shop. Says it's a sport weight, even though you get 400 yards, so I'd say fingering to sport. You get 400 yards. It's 100% merino, not superwash, so you're getting 2,800 yards of a fingering to sport. 7 skeins, dyed up to any colorway you would like of Leading Men Fiber Arts. So we're going to do random number generator, and we're going to do 2 through 110. I'm going to let Callie hit generate.
Did it generate?
No, that was the same number as on. Okay, number 73. 73 is the winner. That's going to be on page 3. Who is it? 73 is 5-pointed star, and she finished her ground cardigan. Even more special because I won the ebook from you guys a couple of months ago. Love the gartery squishiness. Awesome.
Very cool.
So that's Meredith from Portland, Oregon. So Meredith, if you would please get in contact with me, and if you would take a look at leadingmenfiberarts.bakecartel.com. Up at the top we have a link to all of our colorways. If you'd pick what colorway you'd like us to dye up for you in your yarn and give us your shipping address, we'll get on that. So congratulations to Meredith.
Very cool. Congratulations. And so win an ebook, that's pretty cool. And then now to win the sweater,
Yep.
go on with your bad
awesome.
self.
All right, the second prize is for Callie's sweater worth of yarn.
Yes, and I regretfully forgot it this morning. It is Cascade Sierra. It is a cotton blended yarn. I have about 7 or 8 skeins, and it's in a baby blue color. So I was going to do the February lady sweater out of it. That did not happen. So
you're going to get, if you win this sweater's lot of yarn, you're going to get in contact with Callie, who's Callisters on Ravelry, and give her your first and last name and mailing address. The winner of this is number 106. Number 106 is going to be on page 5. I know that much. I can do that now. 106 is Sally from Idaho.
Sally, I actually might still have your address, so yay for you. Congratulations.
Sally is a prolific knitter,
Yes.
and she actually threw in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entries, and no, 6.
6.
2 of them where she did a lovely sugar maple out of our poison apple gradient. So
Yes.
awesome. Okay, the last prize is going to be for $25 or $20 gift certificate to Leading Men Fiber Arts. Again, get in contact with me, Dramatic Knits on Ravelry, and I'll provide you with the coupon code you can use at checkout. We're going to pull another winner, and that's number 31.
Yeah.
31 is winning $20 to Leading Men Fiber Arts. Andy doesn't know I'm doing that, but that's okay. Alright, 31 is Astride. Is that how you'd say that? Astride?
I think so.
She did a summer sweater. It's called Seacoast in Rustic Silk. And that is no first name, Astride from Lisbon, Portugal.
Very cool.
So awesome. Please get in contact with me, Dramatic Knits, and let me know that you heard this, and I'll provide you with the coupon code.
That is definitely a really cute sweater, and it looks fantastic on you.
Yeah, it looks great. Well, I don't know if that's her, but...
Well, if it's not, they look fantastic, but I'm going to believe it's you.
It's like a summer sweater. It looks, thinnish to wear over like a swimsuit
Yeah.
or whatever. So it was a great knit along for us, and we may have to do a sweater knit along every year. Not that, we actually finished in time, but I know I got a lot of support going for it. So thank you so much to everyone who participated.
Thank you.
All right. We need to draw prizes for our October Race to the Finished Object contest as well. And so we have 2 wonderful prizes. The first is a Yarny prize. They are 2 skeins of Knit Picks Felici in the Jingle colorway. So if you win this...
Get in contact with me.
And first and last name and mailing address. And so for October, we had 2 through 357. People are starting to churn out those holiday gifts, I think. I think it's just going to get busier. So we're going to do 2 through 357. And we're going to hit generate. And it's number 297. What page is that going to be on? 12?
Yes.
Hey, I'm doing some good math today. And that is Lightning. She did a wonderful, I think this is the Summertide shawl, I think, by...
Can't remember.
Helen Stewart, I think. It was her mystery knit along. And that's Lynn from Madison, Wisconsin. So congratulations, Lynn. Please get in contact with Callie on Ravelry. And the second is going to be a pattern of your choice from our featured designer, who is Megan Sanders. And there'll be a link to her pattern. You can either search her on Ravelry, or there's a link to her pattern store on Ravelry through our website. Just let me know what pattern of hers that's giftable through Ravelry you would like, and I'll let Megan know, and she'll gift it to you. So we're going to pull a winner for that, and that's 256. So we're going to go back 1 page. And 256 is... Katie did what? 1. And I have actually met Katie a lot of times at different shows and whatnot. We sat with them at Knitting Pipeline, and they came and visited us several times. So awesome. Katie, just let me know what pattern you would like from Megan Sanders, and I will make sure that that is headed your way. So thank you to everyone who put anything they finished in the month of October into that Race to the Finished Object thread. We do have a November thread up, and I forgot to show one of my enablings, which is fine because I'll show it now. While in Ann Arbor, the people across from us was a wonderful wire worker, jewelry maker, and she had wonderful shawl pins and different pendants and things, and she actually does wire trees and everything. So we picked up a shawl pin to use on one of our shop samples while there, and let me show you that. And then she also, I told her about the podcast, and she donated one of her amazing shawl pins to y'all. So we're going to use it for the November Race to the Finished Object contest. So here's the one we picked up. You can see it's a tree, lovely tree with no leaves on it, with a shawl pin, all hand done. Amazing woman, amazing work. So we're using this as on our shop sample of Vacillate. But she donated one to the podcast, and inside the cover has her business card and everything, so you'll get all that with her. You can check out her at, let me see if I can hold it up, Artfully Wrapped on Etsy. Just search up Artfully Wrapped on Etsy, and I do think she does sell some hand knit goods as well. So, there we go. She's got the phone number on there, I'll show it. So there you go. And here's the one for November. This one actually has a white jewel or stone inside.
Mother of pearl.
Mother of pearl, is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so versed in all that. Anyway, so that one's got the, I thought it was cool, like the moon behind the tree. So
that's really cool.
Thought it was really cool, especially November. You know, the leaves are falling off the trees and everything. So that's going to be, if I don't drop it, our prize. One of our prizes for this month. The other prize will be another pattern from Megan. So thank you to Artfully Wrapped for donating a prize, and thank you to Megan for donating a pattern.
You know, that would look wonderful on Paula's Blossom Hollow, especially if you do the extended size. Like I have found out that I do need a shawl pin for that.
Okay. I'm just going to quickly show you some highlights. I'm not going to show you everything we updated this week because there's a lot. First of all, let me start off with the colorway of the month. We did put pre-orders up yesterday. I Instagrammed and Facebooked about it. But I do want to tell you that pre-orders are up for this now in the shop and will remain open through the 8th of November. All items will ship out by the end of the month. And, yeah. So this is another one of those random kind of speckled dies, so just be aware that if you order multiple skeins, there may be some difference between the skeins because it is a random die technique. We're calling it Turkey Run, and after a lot of deliberation and some rather comedic suggestions for a colorway name, we thought that this encapsulated fall. And one of our times that we actually went hiking at Turkey Run National Park, which is in Indiana, Andy and I, not Callie and I, though we may go sometime. It's just, when we went before, it was really humid and buggy, but
Callie doesn't do hot.
she wouldn't have enjoyed this. Anyway, so this is a wonderful speckled dyed fall color, so it's got some greens, a little bit hints of some greeny blues, browns, oranges, and this kind of overall golden yellow tone to it. So, Turkey Run is the colorway of the month. So definitely check out the website. When you go to the website, leadingmenfiberarts.bigcartel.com, scroll down, you'll see all the pre-orders right at the bottom there. Some other things that got put in the shop, we got some mini skeins sets. These are a Show Stealer mini skein set. I'm not going to go through all the colors. Here's a Showstopper mini skein set that we've been holding on to at shows, and since our show season is over, we have a wonderful sock blank. This one's called Cry Wolf. A fun graffiti technique that I've I wouldn't say perfected by any means, but I like to do a lot now with the sock blanks. What else were some interesting things? We had another sock blank. This one was called Down to the Wire. This one's got an eerie kind of ghost light effect to it. A ghost-like paranormal activity. I don't know. I thought it was cool. So there's that one. You can check that out on the website. We have some gradient sets up in the shop. We have a darkened tranquil gradient, so it goes from our tranquil colorway, and then I progressively added more and more black to darken it up. So you can check out, again, better pictures on the website. We have a darkened prom queen. So you go from that vibrant fuchsia, and again, progressively adding a little bit more black each time. And then I have a foggy drama queen. And so what I did with this one is I actually crossed over between our drama queen colorway and London fog. So they actually cross over in equal proportions and then go the other way out. So I think there's a full set of 5 of those. So if you want a sweater's worth, you can grab that. Some other things of interest are we added a new fiber base. There's tons of yarn I'm not showing you, so check the shop. We added a new fiber base, which is mixed BFL, which actually I don't even know if my supplier is going to be carrying anymore. This is what their new technique is that I buy a new base and then they discontinue it. But I want to find it. A lot of people carry mixed BFL. It's just I use one fiber supplier and I might have to be finding another one. So anyway, it's this wonderful 75% ecru colorway and then 25% black BFL. So you can see this is our lightning bug colorway, but you can see the wonderful streaks, which is going to give a great marled effect. And then I did one in Anne's story, which has a bunch of different colors, and I just kind of love that fall. Love that. And then I even did a 3G of New Day. So it's called a 3J. I'm getting tired, y'all. 3G because you can spin each one separately and have a different ply of each color, so a 3-ply, or you can spin them end to end and make your own gradient or progressive. So just wanted to let you know there's a new fiber base in the shop. This is all we have of the mixed BFL, so get it while it's hot. And again, tons more yarn, but you can check out the shop, leadingmenfiberarts.bigcartel.com. If you're not following us on Instagram as Leading Men Fiber Arts or like the Leading Men Fiber Arts page on Facebook, that's the best 2 ways to follow our updates. So, after an hour and 20 minutes, and I wanted this to be under 45. If you want a prize, get in contact with the appropriate person.
Yep.
Until next week, when we'll both be back.
We hope you
Knit something
dramatic.